Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Squared Circle Jerks podcast. I am Satan. He is El Himador. El Hio del Himador? Maybe, possibly. I don't know. What's up, bitches? Let's talk about wrestling.
Indeed, we're talking about NXT. We're talking about Impact. We're talking about ROH today.
See, very much so.
Also, of course, there will be some AEW, of course, because there's so much shit to talk about
there is a lot, yeah. I would like to congratulate myself for whipping out the El Hio del Himador that was inspired. Thank you, self. Congratulations, self.
Indeed.
I thought I had an intro. Intro was not coming. I'm like, fuck it, let's go. Let's do it live.
This is our first podcast in my 32nd year on the planet.
Oh my good golly gosh. If you didn't say happy birthday to Mio in the last fucking podcast, and you don't say it now, I can't help you with life. You're all fired.
Just can't help you. And I am seemingly over my stomach-related issues / food poisoning, possibly.
Listen, we've talked about eating roadkill right off the curb. Don't do it.
I'm left to assume that it was cheese, actually.
I know that you're after all the proteins so you can get them gains, but dude, coyote's not really. I mean, I hear it tastes like duck, but just it's okay not to eat it. It is
gamey as all hell. Anyways, let's talk about some wrestling. On my birthday, there was an NXT show, and I feel honored by that fact.
NXT.
So we had the February 6th NXT episode. We opened up with Johnny Champion promo time.
Ooh, Championes.
There was not anything especially amazing about this promo. It was good. It was good delivery. It all made sense. I enjoyed it, but it didn't stand out really.
It's Johnny being Johnny. You don't need. It's like, you know. It's Tuesday and it's time for The Rock to do a promo. You're going to get damn fine shit, and if you don't like it, move to Russia.
I mean, that's a little harsh.
All of the moving to Russia.
It's a little harsh, but I mean, I suppose it works. We then had Tommaso Ciampa came out, talked about this is our moment, our time. Gargano says he doesn't need him. The Dream comes out. We end up with him talking about how he won Worlds Collide. He gets a title shot. Why he's not using it on the world title is a bit weird. He's going after the North American title held by Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense based on his character, who only wants the absolute finest and most unattainable in life, and he wants the ambiance to be perfect. And he's going after not the champion, the championship.
I mean, I did love it. I did love the reaction from Ciampa when Dream just goes, "The Dream does not need you." That was good.
He went from being like, "Bitch, please," to like, "Oh, good, I get to hold on to this. That's fine. It's fine. I'm good with it."
Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna get that match in 2 weeks' time, and he wants to know if he's getting Johnny Champion or Johnny Jackass.
And I noticed that like 3 people with Johnny Jackass, and it just died.
We got Jackson Riker, who matched up against some guy named Mansoor with Cutler and Blake. This is a squash match. Whatever. Moving on. Then we got Ricochet and the Undisputed Era having, a little back and forth. I liked everything here, except given the complete picture of Adam Cole basically being jobber to the stars, but acting like Adam Cole from ROH. The problem was in ROH, he won matches. Here he's really not. It's a really bad win-loss record.
Yeah, this is like his current run in the wobbly bee, while interesting, is distinctly personality driven alone, and makes, maybe this is the plan. Maybe they decided to make him look this way so that having him be the only 3-time ROH champion of all time makes that look like a massive, colossal mistake, and therefore downgrades ROH inherently. Is that possible that they have that sort of foresight but can't book Nia Jax?
Well, I mean, I think that as far as Nia Jax goes, I think they have at various points booked her correctly, and then she goes and injures someone, and they feel the need to actually punish her.
Okay, well, to extrapolate that they can't book Braun Strowman, and they can't book...
No, Braun is pretty damaged goods on the booking at this point.
They can't book Roman Reigns. They can't book Ty Dillinger. They can't book the Fashion Police. They can't book... I can keep going. I can keep going all day.
I think Roman
is it possible that they have this much foresight to try and downgrade an entire indie company, but can't book their own people? Like, is this a thing?
The answer is more foresight and better booking in NXT. I would actually say that Roman Reigns was booked relatively properly for a long time. It's just that we did reject him because he was the wrong guy. I think if you had waited to pull the trigger, waited to strap the rocket to him, let him get over a little bit organically, it would have worked really well, because I think, he's a good-looking dude. He's actually a pretty good wrestler. There's nothing wrong with his wrestling, and that would have been a big star. I think it's just that the way they pushed him, it wasn't necessarily we made the wrong decisions. It's just that we made absolutely wrong time, and then we made wrong decisions when it came to actually, we really have to put him over Brock at some point here.
Should have been 3 years ago, but okay.
Anyways, then we got some really good shit. We got Drew Gulak versus Eric Bugenhagen.
This is awesome. This Bugenhagen guy, instant star, 100%, 1000%. I don't give a fuck if he can't really wrestle, which, after watching this match, is not the truth. But I saw on YouTube channels that have nothing to do with wrestling, we're like, who is this Bugenhagen guy? And he's got a YouTube channel. He's been kind of a fitness guy for a long time. But he moved into professional wrestling, so the fitness world kind of knows who he is. And now that he's on professional wrestling, it's interesting to see the weird crossover. People are like, Bugenhagen's in wrestling? What the hell?
He's jacked as shit, and I believe you said he was like a combination of the Young Bucks and Joey Ryan.
Yeah. He's like a mixture of all of those things. And he apparently specializes, his particular YouTube channel, I think is just Eric Bugenhagen. I could be wrong. But, and I've heard people pronounce it Bugenhagen, but I think it's Bugenhagen. I haven't heard him pronounce his own name.
So
yeah,
we'll go with that.
Yeah, so he apparently specializes in weird, unorthodox lifting type stuff. Like there was a thing, was it like 3-4 months ago, where this Australian lady lifted those 2 giant fucking Irish stones. He specializes in weird shit like that. So hopefully he doesn't
He's
get
going to take wrestling to strange new places.
I'm fine with it.
Like using an air guitar out at a abdominal stretch.
I'm good with that. That was
great.
He needs to do that, and he just run the thumb right up their ribs, like.
Loved it. He eventually tapped out to the Gulak, which set us up for the Gulak to cut a promo about how he just beat up Ben Stiller from Dodgeball. And how he is disgusted and disrespected that was the match he got. And he got the response of, bro.
Yarp.
As Matt Riddle came out. And he had a great line here where he's like, okay, how about you take your flip-flops off and make my day?
To which Mr. Riddle responded by double kicking his flip-flops off into the crowd. Pink flip-flops, I might add, with little furry bits on the toes.
Indeed.
And perhaps some spangly.
And then we got some of the greatest MMA in pro wrestling. Matt Riddle, Drew Gulak. I want to see more of this. I demand more of this. In fact, I would like to see this go beyond pro wrestling. I want this at EBI.
Indeed.
This was great. This is amazing. At the end, we got a respectful handshake, a win for Riddle. This was everything that I wanted on my birthday.
Well, I'm glad I could deliver that for you.
And then we got some things that really weren't what I wanted for my birthday, which was Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, Bianca Belair versus the Horsewomen.
This is boring as fuck.
Because, yeah, well, I mean, I'm going to start with the positives. Because they're stunningly, there are some positives to this match.
Okay. I don't believe you, but continue.
The positives are Jessamine Duke has not killed anyone yet. Or
right,
seriously
fair enough.
injured someone. Marina Shafir is actually doing okay. Like, again, considering how green she is, she's actually pretty good. It's just that she should not be on TV yet. That's all there is to it. She should be doing dark matches. On to the negatives. Well, okay. The final positive is that neither Jessamine Duke nor Marina Shafir pinned an actual wrestler in this match, which is good. It's outstanding. Okay. The negatives. The psychology of this match makes absolutely no sense because Shayna Baszler wrestled very, very little. I understand that's to get Shafir and Duke ring time, but I kind of need a reason for that. Like, they should have had Io Shirai do some kind of big planche to the outside and kill Baszler, and that's why she's not in the ring. Because I don't know how to put this other than to say that Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke were not good at MMA.
Correct.
They were in fact bad. And
correct.
Even if we're going, they're buddies from MMA, they're training partners, whatever. Baszler should be very aware that if she wants to win this match, she probably has to do the heavy lifting. And she didn't. And there wasn't
correct.
really a story for that. Second bit of really terrible psychology. Kairi Sane was selling for a really, really long time. And that's not the bad part of the booking. But the bad part comes in when Io Shirai tags in, cleans house a little bit, and then immediately tags Sane back in. This is the girl who's been getting worked over, her back, like she's hunched over in the corner, selling the back and everything, and it's like, you don't tag her back in? What are you doing?
Also correct.
In the end, we got a nice elbow to get the finish on the match. Nice moonsault, and everything. Pin, Io pins. And at the end of the match, faces celebrate, but Bianca Belair doesn't look all that psyched because, you know, Io kind of stole the pin from her. So I'm assuming we'll go back to Bianca Belair heel because they don't know how to make her a face.
She doesn't know how to make her a face. I don't want to hear about the company. She had no idea what she was doing the entire time.
Yeah, but I also think that that's the company's fault for painting themselves into a corner. They took someone who was kind of playing the heel the whole time and were like, all right, title shot against the biggest heel in the company. But I don't know how to work face.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry I didn't get that class yet.
We didn't think that through.
That's Wrestling 102, and you're not even... they're barely giving Wrestling 101.
Yeah.
It's not good. And they're putting... Again, I hope for the best for these ladies and gentlemen, but they're putting people on TV that aren't ready. They're ready for house shows. Like, Bianca Belair is ready for house shows right now. She can do house shows for the next year.
I would go a step further with Belair, is that she is ready for TV now, but she is not ready for the featured position that she is in.
Oh, no doubt.
She's not top of the card ready.
All right, well, I'll bump her up from just strictly house shows to jobber position. She's ready to be a jobber on TV now and learn from professionals what should be done, at what time, and why. She's not ready. She's not ready to be anybody's champion. She's not ready to be anybody's mid-card yet. And the same goes for Vanessa Bourne and...
Well, Bourne's not even ready for TV.
No, Bourne's house show material. Dakota Kai's ready to be mid-card. I don't know. Like, I think the storyline of the bullying to push her. Like, they could have put a rocket right on her ass. The problem is that I know for a fact, without knowing for a fact, that Triple H desperately doesn't want to put anybody else that he wants to see totally crippled on the main roster. So they could have put a rocket on Dakota Kai's ass and had her be bullied and eventually triumph over the bully to become the most popular. She could be Bayley 2.0, John Cena 3.0, and then go to the main roster and be buried and do Alexa Bliss sketches and then just fire her. But right now, Dakota Kai is solid mid-card material that could be built into a main eventer very quickly. And everybody else is further back than that, except for Candice LeRae.
Yeah, I mean, I was very, very disappointed with the Dakota Kai Baszler thing because it didn't really end up doing anything for anyone. Like,
nope.
not Nikki Cross, not Dakota Kai. I mean, I guess it made Baszler somewhat more of a heel, but you could have done that in other ways that wasn't that storyline. And I do believe that maybe we didn't see the finish of that storyline because I think that Dakota Kai was reinserted in this feud during the same Baszler thing as the unofficial third Japanese girl, and then she got hurt. So
there's the injury.
There may be something with that. Yeah. We may not have seen the end of that, but yeah, it does feel like that didn't really pay off in the way that we kind of wanted it to right now.
Such is life. And I have the impression that they're kind of they have come on, brain, names Shayna Baszler. They have Shayna Baszler in two simultaneous holding patterns.
Yeah.
They desperately need her to be on the main roster right now. But they can't because Vince is still alive. And they desperately want Dakota Kai to become New Bayley. A la John Cena. But she's injured and she hasn't had enough time on screen. And she quite frankly, doesn't have enough experience yet. She's still a mid-carder. And that's just the reality of the situation. The problem is that they're really trying to hotshot a women's division into full-fledged reality for WWE. And it's not going to happen because Vince doesn't understand and Stephanie doesn't understand. And I think Shane's probably your best bet alongside Hunter to get these things done because I still think that Stephanie saw her dad on TV and went, that needs to be me too.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. There's no reason for her to ever be on TV.
Well, and the thing is, we've gone over this a couple of times, is that Stephanie McMahon is trying to be Vince McMahon, but with no one really getting the upper hand over. With no Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yes, she jobbed out to Ronda Rousey, but she's pimp slapped and bitch slapped, I don't know,
every male superstar.
And there's no payoff.
And the other problem is they call everybody superstar. And to get into that rabbit hole.
And they in fact, there's so little payoff that no one even really gets the upper hand of Triple H.
Yep.
Except for Rollins, I guess. I guess Roman Reigns too. But yeah, that's just
Roman Reigns.
And the problem with NXT right now is that you had all these pretty talented women from the Mae Young Classic that you didn't sign. And you signed a lot of green ones. And I've said this before, I think Lacey Evans can be a star. I think Bianca Belair can be a star. But they need people to learn from. And right now in NXT, and now Lacey's on the main roster, so we'll see how that goes. Maybe say nice things. I have to say nice things about Lacey, and only nice things after the Rumble.
I'm just hoping she's riding with Mickie James. That's all I hope for.
No, that'd be great. But it's like, who are you supposed to learn from in NXT if you're a woman right now? Because your top lady is Baszler, who herself is pretty green and really only knows how to be Shayna Baszler, the character. I don't think she really can help with anything else. And then you have Io Shirai, Kairi Sane. Number one, you got a little bit of a language barrier. Number two, they don't necessarily know how to integrate with the North American audience to the same level they do with the Japanese audience.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Candice LeRae. It's really just Candice. That's all you got.
Yeah, you got Candice LeRae, who is the best wrestler in NXT, other than her husband and Gargano, and maybe Tommy End.
Tommy fucking End.
Yeah, which was interesting. I don't know if you watched the last BTE episode, but where's the little blonde girl that used to tag with you, save your ass all the time? What happened to her? She was great.
Indeed. Candice has been absolutely wasted. I mean, we said that before.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think we both kind of knew it and hoped it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't have faith in the company to take a women's division seriously long term until I see it. And that does include NXT, unfortunately. NXT, like, people will point to the success of NXT, Charlotte Flair era, the Becky Lynch era, and so on. But they kind of ignore that they really picked a lot of the best girls off the independent scene when there was nowhere for them to wrestle, really. Shimmer had kind of largely failed as a promotion, for example, and brought them in. And there hasn't been a haul like that since. And the thing is that in both Mae Young Classics, they had the chance for that haul and didn't take it. So I'm very confused.
Me too.
Impact Wrestling, February 7th, we open up with Rich Swann and Willie Mack versus OVE. With the OVE guys looking like they might be coming down from the meth high, which is a bit weird.
Lord have mercy.
Mexico. Start scoring.
Yeah, I'm going to say, listen, all you have to do is eat like 3 steaks and you'll have enough juice in your system to just go. It's that's how that happens down there. Just don't worry about it.
Anyways, champion Rich Swann pinned Dave Chris with a Phoenix Splash. Moving on to Kiera Hogan versus Allie, with respective seconds of Jordan Grace and Su Yung. No Rosemary in this match, which was surprising.
Nope. Yeah, that is weird. I don't know why. Maybe Rosemary is not allowed in Mexico since Sexy Star had her blackballed at the border. I have no idea.
I don't think that's the case. Mind you, you may not want her to travel to Mexico with the bad knee. So,
also true.
There are those possibilities. Kiera Hogan went over here, which is good. Gives the plucky babyface that you're investing time in some work. She's also kind of the first wrestler to kind of graduate from the Gail Kim School of Wrestling. So there's a lot invested in there. As for her performance, I think on offense she's actually pretty good. But her taking offense, not really the selling even, but the taking of offense is a bit of a problem because you can kind of see that like the girls working with her are not quite comfortable to go full speed into her. Like there were a couple of times where Allie would do something and it was noticeable that she kind of had to hold up because Hogan wasn't quite in the right place. This is not a bad thing because she is very green. But,
yeah, she started wrestling literally 2 years ago.
Yeah. But it is something to look for. I'm gonna be watching every match she has pretty closely, not for quality, just to see the improvements and some of those gaps fill in.
Also, I'd like to point out that Kiera Hogan is 4'11".
Yeah,
so yeah, don't please, Kiera. If something somewhere, if some stars cross or align, and you hear my words. Do not ever go to the Wobbly Wobbly Bee. They will bury you, and you will be in somebody's entourage for 2 weeks and then fired. It's not going to be any good. It doesn't matter how good a wrestler you are. They will not see you because you're not 6.5 feet tall. Sorry.
Yeah. Or you'll end up as Naomi.
Also, looking at Kiera Hogan's Wikipedia page, there apparently is a Voorhees, New Jersey. That's terrifying.
I was aware of that from, there was a lady on Survivor a couple of seasons ago from Voorhees, New Jersey.
Really?
Jessica Lewis, who
Oh boy.
Somewhat famous from in Survivor fame for getting a massive eye infection and having her eyes look really red her entire time on the island.
Neat.
And she got rocked out of the game. For those who aren't aware, if there's a tie vote and no one changes their vote, you go to rocks. And the person who draws the purple rock is eliminated from the game. And that is how Jessica got eliminated.
That's lame as fuck. If you go to rocks, you should have to throw rocks at somebody until they quit.
That'd be fun. That would be fun.
That's how that works. It's Survivor, not fucking random pick a purple rocker.
It doesn't
you must
happen.
Survive!
It doesn't happen much.
Survive!
Anyways, we have investigative journalist. I didn't catch his name. Did you catch his name? Mexican guy.
Steve. Oh, Steve.
He tells Johnny Impact, that it's a 4-way at Uncaged. Johnny Impact's not happy. Cage comes in to tell him life's not fair, and we move on.
Correct.
We had another message from The Shadow to Su Yung and Ali. And then we had Rohit Raju versus Trey. I thought this was actually probably the match of the day, to be honest. This was really fun.
It was all right. It was kind of one guy's capable of spots and one guy's capable of eating spots sort of a thing. And I still don't know why I should give a shit about the Desi Hit Squad, because I don't know what a Desi is, and I don't know why a squad of them hitting people would be good. Or bad. That's pretty much it. Trey goes over. Rascals are getting the rocket right now, which I'm fine with. Sami Callihan defeated Puma King in another Team Impact versus Team Mexico, or Team AAA match. It was fine. Wasn't that great? Yeah.
But it was good. We got a little backstage with Eli Drake and Eddie Edwards, where Eli is still trying to convince Eddie to be the old Eddie. And I did enjoy Eddie going, how about this? You do you, I do me. And we move on to Melissa Santos interviewing Killer Cross and Moose. This was an interesting promo. Moose was going on about like being co-champs, which is a bit weird, and then talking about protecting Tom Brady's blind side, which is
not possible.
I mean,
maybe for one game in his entire career.
I get that, like, say, Super Bowl coming up, or at this time it probably had already happened, actually.
It had happened a week in the past, yes.
Yeah. And okay, you're going with the topical thing, but realistically, this dude's most notable games were played as an Atlanta Falcon, not a Patriot. That is all. And he's like, when we win the belts, girls like Melissa are going to come to us instead of us having to chase them. And then Killer Cross had a comment about, I prefer the tail of the frog and the scorpion, which makes me kind of hope that he turns on Moose and Moose ends up as a face out of this whole thing.
Yeah, that would be pretty accurate. I like also the fact that he didn't explain or extrapolate. He just said it out loud and then walked off camera.
Yeah. And then
if you don't know the tail of the scorpion and the frog, fucking look it up.
And then Moose says, "Hey, Melissa, call me."
Yeah, he always does that. As soon as Killer Cross ain't looking, no, come on, call me.
Call me. Yeah. Then we had our main event, Lucha Brothers challenging LAX for the tag team titles. This was a good match, but it was not as good as their last match. And it feels kind of bummer that this is the one that the Lucha Bros win the tag titles on.
Yeah, this was the kind of the quintessential definition of no quintessential definition. It was kind of almost a WWE match followed by big ass spots, and then more WWE match, and then big ass spots. And I didn't care. None of it made me excited. None of it was enthusiastically, what's the word I'm looking for? It did not blow my skirt up, gentlemen. It was just, it was fine. I'd seen all of these guys have this match against other people, and now they were having this match with each other. And I'd, as previously stated, seen it. There was nothing new here, and nothing. The pace was weird, plodding, slow at times, way too quick at times, and they just didn't seem to gel in the ring. Their previous match, I thought, was pretty good, but nowhere near as good as anybody else seems to think it was. And this one wasn't as good as that.
I also didn't really like the ending, and we talked about it at the time. Basically, Santana kicked out of a Fear Factor clean and then got hit with a package pile driver and another Fear Factor to get it done. The problem I had with this is that the Fear Factor is a pretty fucking big deal. It's a package pile driver, basically spiked with a Warrior's Way, double stomp, ghetto stomp, whatever you want to call it, which is a pretty big deal. And to have him kick out of that clean, only to basically get pinned like kind of right afterwards, it was a bit silly. Because particularly with the first one, like, and the thing is the first one had Phoenix do like a dive to the outside to take out Ortiz while this is happening. Mm-hmm. You take that away, you have Ortiz break up the pin, and you can almost do this exact same thing just with that minor change, and I think it comes off a lot better. Like, don't get me wrong, this does make Santana seem like a badass and everything, but I think it also is going to make anyone who ends up getting pinned just clean with the Fear Factor look a little weaker. It's the whole thing of I'm a big fan of booking finishers. Not that you can never kick out of a finisher, but I'm a big fan of if it's a big deal finisher, it should be a big freaking deal.
Yep.
Anyways, Lucha Bros are the new champs. LAX was respectful but not happy. They kind of got in their faces, and this will probably lead to a trilogy match. Because frankly, there's not really any other team currently positioned to challenge for the belts, really. I mean, I guess you could do the Rascals, but that's about it.
Yeah, well, that'd be interesting. I would be interested in watching that if they go the full Lucha Underground route, where you give them a bunch of vignettes, you let that build up to something. You have 1 or 2 solo matches that are weeks apart, and the rest is filled by cool-ass vignettes. And then, I would love to see like some combination of the Rascals versus the Lucha Brothers. The problem is that's never going to happen because Phoenix is dead.
I see.
Well, not dead. I mean, he's injured.
Yeah.
He apparently, was it like a week or 2 weeks after they won the Impact titles, they also won the titles at some other lower organization, and Phoenix basically had a giant full-body stinger.
Yeah, it's less than ideal.
Yeah. So apparently he went to the hospital. He was there like overnight, and then the doctor said he's fine now. If that's true, I doubt it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Then we had the ROH show from the same day. We opened up with Corey Hollis, Josie Quinn, and John Skyler healing it up in the ring. They ended up with a 6-man match against Villain Enterprises, which they lost. I thought the spot of the match was the Boston Crab leg drop, where Marty Scurll holds you to Boston Crab, and CPO comes off the top rope and leg drops the fuck out of you.
It's PCO.
PCO, pardon me. Pierre-Carl Ouellet. Indeed. I remember him from back in the day, which does bring us up. This is the weirdest late career revival I've ever seen. Like, if you told me in 2019 I'd be watching PCO wrestle and enjoying it, I would have called you a liar and then asked you what drugs you're on.
Somebody bring me Skinner.
Yes. That could work. Put him in the Briscoes corner.
I like it.
Anyways, then we had a face-off with Kingdom. Kingdom says they are fighting champs. They will defend against Melvin Enterprises, but not tonight. Save for the pay-per-view. That's a good call.
I like it. I like the use of Melvin and all things. I just like Matt Taven on the mic. Matt Taven on the mic equals good times.
You know who's surprisingly good on the mic, actually, that I didn't really give credit prior to this? TK. I actually enjoy TK on the mic.
Oh, yeah. I think they're all good. Like, everybody in the Kingdom's good on the mic. It's just that Vinny's got his own niche. TK kind of up and loud and boisterous, and you got to
TK is Big Cass with a lot more
Yeah.
attitude and personality.
Yeah, well, I don't know about more attitude and personality. It's just that when Big Cass gets on the mic and he starts talking about stuff, he gives it this sort of irrevocable quality. Like, this is going to happen. You don't have a choice. When TK O'Ryan gets on the mic, he's like, motherfucker, I'm gonna fuck you up, and you're gonna see it coming, and you're not gonna like it.
This could be a baseball bat to sell your hip.
Yeah, and then Vinny's just crazy, which I like, and
Vinny
totally looks like my friend
Vinny
Morgan.
is my favorite part of it.
Yeah, and I love him popping balloons in people's ears, and it's probably not good for you, but I don't care.
I'm perfectly okay with it.
It's probably better than a chair shot to that.
We had PJ Black challenging Nick Aldis for the NWA title.
This was all pitter patter, no
yeah.
getter.
This was not as good as you would kind of hope for. It just seemed like two guys who never really found each other's timing. Super soft. Camille took by far the hardest bump in the match when she did a drop kick from PJ Black. There was an Eddie Guerrero spot where the ref was distracted. PJ throws the belt into Nick Aldis and plays dead. In the end, Aldis retains the title with a submission. There is not really a lot more to say about this. Hopefully, these two do not rematch in the near future.
No, I mean, just only to extrapolate on the pitter patter, no get at her. Every hold in this match was super tentative. Every flip was short and wrong. I don't know, man. Like, every spot, they even blew a spot where he's supposed to do a springboard moonsault into an implant DDT and missed it entirely, and then Nick Aldis just kind of stood there for 5 seconds while PJ Black got back up and then actually hit the implant DDT. It was off by inches and seconds the entire time. And that's all you really need to know about this match.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. It was not great, and we'll just leave it at that. And then the main event, which was not even a match, but Juice Robinson comes out, talks about how ROH stands for honor. This is why he's here and not in New Japan. Lights go out. Boom! Bandito, T. Neil Dashwood, David Finlay, Tracy Williams, Mark Haskins, new faction Lifeblood. Your thoughts.
I'm in favor of it. You get anytime you get Finlay near some sort of a big push, I think it's good. It's weird. Is it weird that I think Finlay's got the bigger upside than Juice Robinson? I think Juice Robinson might have almost already peaked.
I wouldn't necessarily disagree with the fact that he might have peaked already, but I do believe he's got the higher ceiling than Finlay.
I don't know. Like, it almost feels like he's almost outreached his physical ability. I think he's as good as he's ever going to be in the ring, and I hope I'm wrong. I'm going to underscore this entirely. I hope I'm wrong about this statement, but I feel like he's reached as good as he's ever going to be in the ring, and his personality's only going to take him a little bit further. I don't think he's got what it takes to do what Marty Scurll does by a long shot. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that Juice Robinson becomes the next whatever you want to throw out there. Becomes the next anything. Or becomes the next Juice Robinson. I desperately hope that he carves his own path to international superstardom, and that the next guy down the line is hopefully the next Juice Robinson. I hope that that's the thing. But I don't know, man. I don't see him making... I saw him make progress between his introduction to New Japan and where he is now, but at this point it looks like he's just putting on different outfits and different colored feathers. And that's all there is to it at this point. And I, again, really hope that I'm wrong.
I think you are wrong, and I'll join you in hoping that you are wrong.
excellent.
I think there's a lot of potential there.
I think Finley's an untapped resource of everything. Like, that guy barely even tries, and he's just about as over as Juice Robinson.
We'll kind of see, because I think at ROH they'll play a much bigger role in the company. And I think that'll be the test for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I'm looking forward to. Investigative reporter Byron, will you take us through the AEW news?
No, I refuse. Okay, I'll do it. So they had their big old Double or Nothing rally, and it really tells us more about Double or Nothing more than it does AEW as a whole. So keep that in mind as we move forward. Spoiler alert, your boy Kenny Omega joined AEW, and people seem to be really surprised by the fact that he's now the 4th executive vice president. I really don't know how that's possible. I don't understand how anybody would be surprised about that at all.
I think the only thing to be surprised about is that Kenny hasn't seemed to be terribly interested in the backstage portion. Like, he wasn't terribly involved in planning All In.
Well, he's busy being the champion of the world.
No, I get that, but I think that's maybe the source of the surprise. Like, we just didn't hear him talking about anything about being interested in being backstage. But you know what? If there's going to be a 4th one, I mean, it was always going to be Kenny.
Yeah,
The door was obviously open. It was just whether he wanted it or not.
When Hangman Page wasn't announced as an executive vice president, you had to know this was coming. How did you not know? How did you not understand? I don't get it. So anyway, spoiler alert, Kenny Omega signed to AEW as if you dumb marks didn't think that was going to happen. Announced for, I'll get back to more of the roster signings here in a second, but basically they had another, I can't remember actually, did they have a face-to-face between Hangman and Pac, but they basically, Hangman versus Pac is going to be on Double or Nothing. SoCal Uncensored is going to face Shima and 2 of his boys, and we've already fantasy booking warfare that one. Your boy Shima, the Blood Generation. You know who else was in Blood Generation?
I mean, there were a lot of people.
Roderick Strong.
Oh, the Roddy! I forgot about Roddy. Actually,
Hot Rod. So, but we're desperately hoping that Doi and Yoshino and maybe even the HAGE shows up. But I mean, who knows? And Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho too.
Really can't go wrong with this idea, to be honest.
No, none of those things can go wrong. The Lucha Brothers, Phoenix, and Pentagon have signed some sort of contract with them. Nobody's really sure what it is. And everybody's damn sure that it's not an exclusive contract, because it can't be, because I think they're still technically signed to Lucha Underground, and they're also working heavily with Impact. So there's that. They announced a friendship, partnership, collaborative effort, something or other with AAA, which is sort of weird, because if they want to do any business with New Japan does business with CMLL. And I don't know how or where, what that's going to lead into. Or, hopefully it's the biggest, best mixing pot of all time. And you get to see into CMLL versus AAA on an AEW show. That would be the
awesome.
best.
Unlikely, but awesome. I think the deal with AAA versus CMLL is basically that CMLL seemed very uninterested in kind of playing ball with them for the All In show, and that's AAA was. That's kind of really, I think
AAA goddamn well should be.
Yeah.
Who else is there? So they've also got some sort of, in following with the AAA agreement, Sammy Guevara is going to be wrestling for them sometimes.
I like Sammy. That's good.
Yeah, and they've also signed the best friends. Your boy Trent Beretta and your boy Chucky T will be wrestling for AEW, and apparently New Japan is pissed off that they stole, air quotes, Trent Beretta from them.
Yeah, I don't really know how you can be mad because, I mean, I think this maybe is like a slight flaw in Gato's booking philosophy.
Yeah.
We've talked about how he's very, very long term, which is great, but I don't think it really accounted for the AEW disruption because it feels like if we could go back in time and show Gato what's happening now, I feel like the Beretta push probably would have come a lot sooner.
Yes, and probably really well have. I would have. Listen, you can call me an asshole if you want, but I would have pushed Trent Beretta harder, faster than anything possible, way before Jay White. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe history says that I'm wrong, but that's where I'm standing. I think Trent Beretta is the bigger talent than Jay White, and I think that Gato misjudged that situation. And that's basically where I stand for now. Let's see. They also announced some new female wrestlers. I can't remember who was the new. Well, I know which one. One of them I know for sure was the newest. But I believe Yuka Sasaki and Aja Kong, for fuck's sake. Holy shit.
There's a name we've not heard in a while.
Yeah, champion, thank you. But just put the belt right on there. Who do they have behind the scenes? They have Billy Gunn, we've talked about before. BJ Whitmer, somebody named Jeff Jones, I don't know who that is. And Michael Culinary. Better known as QT Marshall.
Ah, good old QT.
Yeah. Corporate staff, the Cons, Dana Massey, which is, I believe, Matt Jackson's wife.
I believe that's the case.
The chief merchandise officer, and Chris Harrington, who I don't know who that is, who is vice president of business strategy.
I imagine he's someone from the Khan's extensive corporate empire.
Probably. So, I hear a lot of talk. Oh, also, they signed Jimmy Havoc. Forgot about that. Jimmy Havoc, OP, please nerf.
Jimmy Havoc!
He will staple the encyclopedia to your dick, and you will lose. And you will thank him for only being one volume of the encyclopedia. Thank you and good night.
You will thank him it's not the deluxe version.
Yeah, apparently MJF is injured, and that's why he's doing all these vignettes. Same with Joey Janela.
Well, yeah, we were long aware of Janela's injury. But, yeah, things are shaping up to be exciting. I mean, I keep having to temper myself here, because until they start doing shows, I don't want to give in to the orgasmic hype that's inside of me at this point.
Yeah, there was one comment I saw that the Wrestle Talk guys highlighted was AEW is a t-shirt company. Prove me wrong.
Right now you're not technically incorrect.
Technically not wrong, which is the best kind of not wrong.
They've yet to host a show.
Well, they did one, kind of, but not under this banner.
Yeah.
Also, Christopher Daniels is head of talent relations. I can't see how that's a fucking home run. I don't know how that's not the best move that's ever happened. OMD.
Do we have anything else?
Not really. I can't think of anything else.
All right. We got a bit of a short podcast today then, which is fine. Every so often, there's just not that much to talk about.
The only other thing I can think of is, like, if you want to, I can run down all of the people who are apparently pissed off with WWE on Twitter.
Go ahead.
That work there at the moment.
Go ahead.
The list goes Ty Dillinger, the Ascension, the come on, brain, come on, Wilder, and the other guy. The Revival.
Dash.
The Revival. So the Revival, Sasha Banks, and who else is there? There's weird rumors that oh my god, my brain is really failing me now. Your boy Nick Nemeth has agreed. Yeah, Dolph Ziggler. There you go. Weird that I could remember his real name, not his stage name. So your boy Nick Dolph has some sort of Jericho-esque deal in the works with WWE, so that he will be officially not anywhere else, but unofficially he's not technically under contract. And there's also more heavily, more heavy speculation that the whole thing with Dean Ambrose is a total work, and that he will be staying. Although they set him up for a Nia Jax match, and then canceled it.
The thing with Dean Ambrose being a work is, if I'm a business person over at WWE, I don't do that right now because you have everything else going on. Like, I think that's an interesting work if you're a year ago. I think, like, around when they were doing with Ziggler, for example.
Yeah.
And you do it right. I think that's a good idea. I think that's something you can add. You can spice things up. But, yeah, I mean, it's kind of problematic when you're dealing with all this rumors, and that it just kind of feeds the awareness of AEW. And I'm not sure you want to do that.
Yeah,
doesn't mean they won't. We've disagreed with WWE's business decisions plenty,
and we will continue to do so.
Anything else?
Not really. It's just a bunch of unconfirmed shit. So I guess we'll find out after the end of April, more or less.
Right, then. That is all for this week for the Squared Circle Jerks podcast. I am Mike, he is Byron, and we will talk to you next week.
Piss off.